Hello, hello. Welcome to day 1131 of Connecting the Thoughts. Quote for today is speak to people, not about people. Speak to people. If you want to create, if you want to build your bond with somebody, if you want to empower your relationship with somebody, then speak to them. Speak to them, get to know them better, understand what makes them happy, what makes them unhappy, what gives them excitement, what makes them disappointed. Speak to the person itself instead of speaking about that person. So speak to people, not about people. That's the quote of today. That is what we will be talking about on the other side of the showreel. Welcome back. Welcome back to the conversation on day 1131 of Connecting the Thoughts. Today's quote is rather simple. We are talking about speak to people, not about people. So there's this quote that a post, a forward that I'd read where great minds talk about ideas, average minds talk about events, and small minds talk about people. So, what's the comment coming? Hey, hello, hello, Gopalan. So, when you are in a space of wanting to develop a relationship, when you are in a space of wanting to, take your relationship to the next level, or if there has been a gap in your relationship, if you would like to do something about it, then speak to the person directly instead of speaking about the person to other people. Because then that conversation creates a ripple effect, and it becomes fodder for gossip. It becomes it then also the message gets lost in conversation, because you might ask somebody something and they would relate something to you about that person in a different way, and then they might go speak to that person about something that you asked them in their from their perspective. So things begin to get diluted. The intention of the conversation begins to get diluted, moving from one person to another. So wouldn't it be simpler if you invested in the person themselves and spoke to them instead of speaking about them? So this is something I feel would really help with empowering relationships. This would really help with making relationships stronger and more trustable. If suppose, for instance, I'm going to just use A, B, and C as an example. If you are A and you go to B and ask them about C, right? So B will give you their perspective of C, and they will pass it on to you. Now, possible if B has that tendency to speak to you about C, then B might also speak to C about you, which is A. And then what does that create? This just creates a lot of tangling of thoughts and perspectives and ideas, and there's miscommunication that happens within a relationship. And then wouldn't it be easier for you as A to go and speak to C directly and find out what could possibly going on in their mind, or what could possibly be a good thing to invest in this relationship A and C, without having the middleman B in the process. So, very often we end up having misunderstandings in relationships when we speak to others about a person instead of speaking directly to that person and asking them. If you value them enough, I think it would be important for you to reach out and speak to that person directly and just get to know what's up, what's going on. Hey, how can I make things better? Or how could what's going on in your mind? What should we be doing? What's your idea for the holidays? Anything, whatever it could be. Of course, unless you're planning a surprise, and that's a different thing altogether. But here, obviously, I'm not talking about planning surprises for somebody. I'm talking about investing in a relationship. I'm talking about empowering relationships. So come from a place of courtesy, come from a place of trust and respect. Trust that your relationship is strong enough for you to go and speak to that person directly and have a face-to-face conversation. You don't have to kind of do the roundabout way and confuse things. So the best thing to do to strengthen any relationship is to be upfront, to be trustworthy, to give trust, and to receive trust. So this is how I see it. Hi Naren, thank you for joining. And leave me your thoughts. Have you ever been in that space where you found out probably from somebody else that somebody was talking about you, and how did that make you feel? I mean, not in a good way. When, or they were just inquiring about you, the progress you're making, or maybe the challenges that you might be going through. If you found out from somebody else, how did that make you feel? And on the contrary, if you ever were that person to ask about someone else, to speak about someone else, to kind of become the fuel for the gossip mills. If you were that person, how do you think about it now? How does that make you feel now? And maybe something went down, because these things never work in isolation. There's always a ripple effect. So when the ripple effect happens, you realize that, I shouldn't have done that. And when you have that realization, it's important that you abstain from doing that the next time. So I hope we have good lessons, and I hope we have great relationships with the people who mean to us, because at the end of the day, life's too short. Life is too short to live on could have beens, would have beens, should have beens. Life is too short to foundation any relationship on assumptions. So let's just go out there and speak to the person instead of speaking about the person. Thank you, Gopalan. Gopalan says, when we speak with an intent, thank you. Says, when we speak with an intent to communicate, the shortest distance for sound to travel is a straight line rather through another person. Absolutely. And as you say that, what comes to my mind is, if the sound travels through another person and kind of goes through one one end to the other, and the perspective of that person kind of then impacts the way that sounds. Just thinking aloud. So yes, Naren, that's a good approach to have. I just ignore them who talk about me, not talking to me. That's a great approach, and I am all for that. If someone doesn't have the if someone doesn't have the courage to speak directly to me and ask me if something is up, if they're going to go into their little bubble of silence or assumptions, then well, that's for them to decide. Because for me, a relationship, if a relationship is important, I will go out there and shake you and break you and ask you, hey, listen, what's up? So I hope you have empowered relationships. And if this has been of value to you, this investment of your time has been of value to you, please write in comments saying, I am listening. Because at the end of the day, I think to make any relationship powerful, you need to listen. And again, not just relationship with others, but also with yourself, because that's what I talk about the most. That is what I am known to do as a coach. I help you empower your relationship with yourself and others. I help you empower your conversations with yourself and others. Because, dude, at the end of the day, everything starts with you. So I am listening. Thank you so much. I am listening in comments. If this has been of value to you, tag a friend who needs to receive this message. Maybe they've been speaking a lot about others. And until tomorrow, keep smiling, keep shining, stay safe, and thank you for connecting the thoughts with me. Thank you so, so much. Also, tag a friend who has heard about someone speaking about them and is feeling a little down in the dumps. So this conversation just might be what they need to hear today. Until tomorrow.